Welcome back. Three of Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo's former staff members are expected to be in court right now. Three former staffers were indicted on charges of misuse of official information and tampering with records. To learn more about their cases, we have our legal analyst Brian Weiss joining us this morning. Hey, good morning, Brian.
Good morning, Haley.
Thanks for joining us. So what exactly is a pre-trial conference, and what do we expect to happen this morning before Judge Hazel Jones?
You know, Haley, I think our viewers and streamers are sophisticated enough to recognize that most cases in the Harris County criminal justice system are either pled or dismissed and never, ever go to trial. Make no mistake. These cases aren't among them. What's going to happen today is that Judge Hazel Jones is going to meet with lawyers from both sides to determine, number one, a trial date, more than likely in the spring of 2024. But moreover, she is also going to set a date for two equally critical pretrial motions, one of which seeks to disqualify Harris County District Attorney Kim Ogg and her office from even prosecuting these cases because of a conflict of interest that existed at the time these cases were investigated and indicted. There's also a consequential pretrial motion that seeks to suppress all of the evidence obtained as a result of those search warrants that we've heard so much about over the course of the last several months. The allegation being, Haley, that the ranger who spearheaded this investigation left out some pretty critical elements in the search warrant affidavit and may have made material misstatements about others. That is going to focus primarily on whether or not these cases ever see the inside of a trial courtroom in 2024.
Interesting, but you're saying that you think this is going to trial?
Oh yeah, make no mistake.
Yeah.
Look,
Wow.
One of the reasons why these cases have garnered so much attention over the course of the last 18 months since they were filed, one word: politics. Haley, your typical DWI, murder, aggravated robbery has nothing at all to do with the notion of politics. Make no mistake, politics seems to be part and parcel of the DNA of these three cases. Why? Well, from 35,000 feet, let's take a look at it. You have had this, for lack of a better expression, I don't mean to be glib, steel cage death match between Harris County Judge Lina Hidalgo and Harris County Criminal District Attorney Kim Ogg, two of the top elected Democrats in this county. And as a result of that, we have seen publicity unlike that which is attendant upon almost any other kind of case. Look, in this situation, we've also discovered that Kim Ogg has paid a special prosecutor, Rachel Palmer, $175,000 from a discretionary legal fund that's composed of forfeitures to investigate Lina Hidalgo and her staffers. And viewed through that prism, I don't think we can understate the fact that politics, again, seems to have, at least in the public's perception, driven so many of these cases.
So are you saying, because, you know, when you look back at why we're here, it all goes back to that COVID-19 contract. And, you know, there was so much hostility about COVID-19 vaccines at the time. So we were all, you know, like scrutinizing this contract, right? But now you're saying that it's more than just about that and mishandling information on that. You are thinking that this is a battle between Ogg and Hidalgo.
You know, look, there's an old saying, politics is largely perception. And I think that the public's perception of this, as the investigation into Elevate Strategies and Felicity Perea reached critical mass, there certainly was a narrative that was put forth by the three defendants in this case, by the way, represented by some of the best criminal defense lawyers in this town, David Adler, Dan Cogdill, and Derek Collinsworth, and Lina Hidalgo, that this had less to do with misuse of official information and tampering with evidence than it did with this personal beef between Lina and Kim. Now, certainly that's something that the public will ultimately have the final say on, but make no mistake, we try these cases in courtrooms and not on the air at 4, 5, 6, and 10. What's happening this morning is really the first step in a journey of 1,000 miles to set these cases for trial, to determine whether or not the search warrant affidavits were properly obtained, and to determine whether or not these three former Hidalgo staffers are ultimately going to be called to answer for what it is they've allegedly done.
All right, and as the calendar turns to 2024, what do you think is going to happen?
Well, again, I think we're going to see a trial date set for some time, likely in the spring of 2024. But there's something else, I think, that impacts these cases. And it's great because you mentioned it a couple of minutes ago. The filing deadline for elected office, I think, expires, as you said, at 6 o'clock tonight. We're going to see, and have already seen, former veteran prosecutor Sean Tier, who was the public face of the DA's office for a very long time, is the chief of the Vehicular Crimes Division, who has already announced his run against incumbent Kim Ogg. I think that is going to be something that is ultimately going to color what happens over the course of the next 3 months. If, in fact, Sean Tier is able to unseat Lena Hidalgo, Freudian slip, Kim Ogg, then he may ultimately, if he defeats his Republican challenger in November, take a second look at these cases and determine that perhaps what happened was a miscarriage of justice. But right now, on the fast track, I think we're going to see these cases set for trial. We're going to see a motion to suppress setting probably. And again, if for some reason Judge Hazel Jones decides that Kim Ogg's office should be disqualified, these cases would go to another elected criminal district attorney, again, who may decide these cases don't need to move forward. All I can tell you, Haley, stay tuned.
All right, legal analyst Brian Weiss, always willing to join us this early in the morning and spill the tea. Thank you, Brian.